This is the Rebel Scum podcast. Available in video on YouTube and audio wherever you listen to your podcasts. Every week, Brock and James talk the latest rumors, news, and theories from a galaxy far, far away. Support us on Patreon for exclusive offers and join the Star Wars discussion. Patreon.com/RebelScumPodcast. Here are your hosts, Brock and James.
You're always scum. Rebel Scum.
Rebel Scum, here we are, episode 335 of Rebel Scum Podcast. I'm Brock.
James.
Whoa, we're back.
Boom.
No internet issues yet.
Yet. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. We're cruising for a bruising with attitude like that, Brock.
Absolutely, cruising USA.
There's a reference for you. How you doing?
I'm doing
It's
great.
a video game.
It is a video game. Doing great.
Like every arcade in like 90s had Cruising USA.
Yeah, cruising.
Good time.
But it's just like it kills me on the inside that I can't play Outlaws, but because I do not have an up-to-date console.
Yeah.
Friend of the podcast, Daryl was like, Daryl was like, I'm talking. I love video conferencing, by the way.
I know. I was saying I'm talking over you, and then yes, sorry, go on.
Anyways, friend of the podcast, Daryl was like, "Oh, have you seen that Star Wars game? I might get it." I'm like, "That's showing you success." Of a person that does not care about Star Wars like Daryl does. Oh yes, yeah. I do want to watch Rebuild the Galaxy. Thank you for reminding me, Heidi.
I think we'll talk about that next week because I don't have Disney Plus actually. Maybe you know what? I got an email today because I got rid of my Disney Plus, and they email me and they go, get it for 3 months for $1.99, the ad version. And I'm like, because you know what's funny is I got rid of it. And I found out that I don't really watch it. I noticed that, but so I got rid of it, and like I think a day or two after it expired, Erin said, "We don't have Disney Plus," and I was like, "What are you watching?" Like she's never watched it, I don't think. But one time she wanted to watch it, so I might get it for $2 a month for 3 months. Why not? I might do that, the ad one, so I can watch old school commercials. I hope I could see like a Fruity Pebbles commercial or something with Barney dressed as Santa Claus trying to go down the chimney. For all you old folks, that's an old commercial. But yeah, so I might, because I really want to watch that. Darth Jar Jar Forever, right? Automated Best, I believe, voices him in it too, which is kind of crazy because they don't. I mean, other than Christian Slater, I don't think they get big voices for those things. So I'm really excited. Christian Slater, also a '90s actor, everyone. Yeah, so I'm thrilled for that, and I still haven't watched Visions. I need to watch Visions.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. You gotta do what you gotta do. Ron,
we gotta bring up
Outlaws. Good call, man. Good call. Keep us up to date on what you think, if it's good or bad game. What is great about it?
I'm not going to bring up Heidi next time. Yeah, I've heard mixed things about Outlaws. That's great that Ron's saying that. I've heard some people say it's boring. Some people say kind of like what I've said about Ahsoka and the Acolytes. Kind of like, well, what's the point? At the end of the day, what's the point of this? But I can't comment on it because I also haven't played Jedi
Survivor
2.
Jedi.
Is it Jedi? Is it Survivor? Fallen Order is the one that we have.
Fallen Order.
I haven't played I haven't played the new Cal Kestis game because I also, like you, don't have a new.
Yeah.
I opted for a new child over a new console.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't have a new console, so I haven't played it. But I thought we did a story like months ago, maybe a year ago, where they were going to put that game on the older consoles, like the PS4 and the Xbox, whatever the other one was called.
Sure.
I thought we did a story. I could be wrong. I mean, we've been doing this for 8 years, 335 episodes. We've talked about a lot. I could be confusing it with something else. So I'm not quite sure. Apparently Mark Hamill is in. Mark Hamill's in Rebuild the Galaxy.
Nice.
Okay, that's cool. So they're going all out now. Lego is like Lego for some reason gets all the fun. And I'm still mad that Lego had Jedi Finn, where we like they fleshed Finn out more than the movies did. I'm kind of upset about that. But yeah, no, Outlaws. I think Outlaws looks cool. I haven't seen too much on it, and I'm not gonna lie, it's because I know I'm not gonna get to play it, so I haven't wanted. I've been purposely like neglecting looking at it online, so I don't know if the hype is there. But I'm glad that Ron is saying that, and yeah, our friend Daryl, he messaged me about it as well. He's like, I haven't got a game since Christmas. And that's like the game he wants to get. And I'm like, cool, let me know how it is. And then let me borrow your PlayStation and we play it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it looks awesome. But anyways, what are we talking about today in the podcast?
We should talk about a few things. Let's start with James Earl Jones. Let's just start with James Earl Jones. It happened Monday before the live stream. Heidi and I had a chance to talk about it. I haven't talked to you about it. 93 years young. That is a nice time on this planet. But he did sadly pass away. Before he did, I believe he signed his voice rights over to Disney. I guess they're allowed to use them. But yeah, it was kind of sad and somber to hear that he everyone eventually passes away, and he was 93, like I said. But it was still kind of sad, and even if there was a chance that he could have voiced again, not that he would have, obviously Obi-Wan can only prove that. It's like now that's not there, and you look back on his filmography, and there's a scene, I don't know if you've seen it, Brock, making its way. It's all over Twitter. I don't know if it's on Instagram, of him on the play Fences, and he's doing a scene from Fences, and it's some breathtaking acting. So yeah, Hollywood has lost a star, but 93 years, that's a nice run.
Yeah, you can't really complain about that. That's large and a large number, and like he was still pretty active for an older guy. Like,
yeah,
did he not do Mufasa's voice in the live action Lion King? Yes, right.
He did. Yeah.
And is he in Coming to America too? No, I don't know. I can't remember.
I haven't seen that. I don't know.
But like, it's just like he was, and we were always hearing about he was doing voice of Darth Vader and different things, and then like he recorded his voice so that they can put him in later. I mean, like for someone in his like 90s, that's pretty impressive. Maybe it was late 80s for some of that stuff, but like that's a lot. And it's like you're in Star Wars, you're in Lion King, you're in millions of like heartwarming films, like what's the baseball one? Field of Dreams, Sandlot. So many baseball games that are baseball.
The Jack Ryan movies also.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's like check mark. I was like, I have done a lot with this, and like,
yeah,
it's kind of funny. It's like all these things about this gentleman, but I don't really know much outside of like, did he have a big family? I don't know. So it's just like, I'm sure he lived a pretty impressive life, because it's just like, I don't know. I think it came off in his acting and genuine class. So that's cool. Rest in power.
Yeah. You know what? And I don't know how you feel, but I am okay with not knowing the ins and outs of celebrities.
Oh, sure.
I'm good with them being on the stage, and only that, because I also find, like, especially in the political climate that we live in today, like Heidi brought up Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill's very outspoken on his political stuff. I think he can say whatever he wants. I'm not saying don't say it, but I'm okay with not knowing it or caring. But also I think you should separate that from performances as well. So when they have private lives and they want to be private, I respect that. And I frankly appreciate that.
Yeah, exactly. But it's interesting.
Go
ahead.
Go on. No, you go. It's more important. Yours is more important.
I'm interested to see how exactly Lucasfilm will use his voice, because it's just like, Darth Vader is a great character to just drop into things. Like Lego is a perfect example. Any Lego projects is like, oh, we could actually use James Earl Jones's voice for this. I don't know what exactly they're allowed to do or not do. It's like, I always wondered that about Stan Lee with Marvel. It's like, I'm sure you've scanned him at least once. Like, you could easily just drop him into the back room of a shot, because his presence in all those Marvel movies was like, he's just there. Like, he might say a line, but he just walks through it. Like, you could easily put that in. It could be like the M. Night Shyamalan moment in every Marvel movie. Like Deadpool and Wolverine has a mention as like a billboard, but it's just like I always wonder because it's like you gotta do it like tastefully and like the big story I think this week was like apparently Peter Cushing's whatever estate is
friend or something. Yeah,
friend. I don't quite really understood the friend part of it, but it's like oh they didn't ask for permission.
I thought they did. Like I thought when that movie, I thought when Rogue One came out, they said that they asked permission. So I'm confused. Mm-hmm. Sounds like I don't know. And you're what 7, 8 years, 9 years removed from that, whatever it's been. Where have you been? It seems a little. Unless they've been like Skyhawk. I like the thumbnail. I have no shame. I think it's unless it was in like they approached like their lawyers years ago and it took this long for it to get through. But I don't know. It seems a little iffy for me. It's not like strange. It's whatever. I'm not really. I don't think anything will come from that. I think it's maybe the friend wanted some publicity or something.
I guess.
Friend's like, I need acting roles. He's not going to get it.
So, we got to be careful with this. It is pretty impressive what they can do with technology now and just putting people into things that aren't actually there. So I hope they do it right.
I think a lot of people, if you go online, social media especially, people are like very like adamantly against AI use like that and whatnot. I am going to rock the boat and say that I am not. The caveat being that obviously if the person is alive, they have to give permission for it, or if they're not, then it has to be their estate that has to. And it should be in good taste, because I just think like, okay, we're in this part where movies have only been around for like 100 years. We haven't like it has. If you think about it, we're in the early stages. Like it's a baby still. Like movies operate in reverse dog years, I feel. So we're still like very early, and AI is a tool, and it's such a powerful tool. And maybe like AI, like an actor in a movie is kind of creepy, but the voice of Darth Vader is the voice of Darth Vader. And you can either get someone to voice it, which, is great too, or, you use AI to recreate James Earl Jones's voice, pay his estate, and credit him in the end. I don't know if that's I don't know if that's unethical. It seems fine to me in a lot of ways. I still think like if you're animating animating Tarkin and Leia is a little different, but again, is it that different than I'm trying to think of an example of like an animated film where I don't know if that's even that bad if everybody has signed off on it and is okay with it. And obviously it's because it's in good taste also. And so I don't know. I'm okay with it at the end of the day, as long as it's obviously done properly and everybody gets their credit. And of course the monetization, right? The payment of the families involved for me is important. So that's where I stand, and everybody hates me.
No, this is what the SAG-AFTRA strike was about. A bunch of things, but the AI of everything is. And then, just for signing your contract, it's like, if we record your voice or scan your body, if we ever use it, you will be paid, either you or your state. Like, that's the funny thing about like Hollywood and actors. It's like you pay to this state, or it's like maybe there's other cartoonists like I always think about this because Peanuts, like the state of Charles Schultz. Peanuts. I would whoever is controlling that is definitely selling that IP off to clothing companies, because you see Snoopy and Charlie Brown and Peanuts on such random things. Like it's the same with like what's his name? All the artists like Basquiat and Keith Haring, and who's the crazy guy with the white hair with the tomato cans? You know what I'm talking about? Like those artists that were like about
Andy Warhol.
Andy Warhol. Like 3 artists that were like up the. I just blanked.
Yeah.
Like 3 people that like their art was like criticizing culture constantly, and now you can go to anywhere and get, like I said, tomato can on a shirt. Like,
yeah.
Everyone's selling it. It's just like it's not cool anymore to be like, look at my cool Keith Haring shirt. It's like, I bought that over at Target, no problem. Like it's just like,
I was at a random pizza joint on the island in Vancouver, and like really small pizza place, and they had all these skateboards on the wall. They had a surfboard on the wall, and then all these skateboards, and they were all Peanuts characters. I took a picture of it because they were really cool looking. I'm not a big Peanuts fan. I'm not the biggest Peanuts fan in the world, but those skateboards were awesome looking. So I took a picture of them because they were pretty sick. But Heidi's here in the chat saying Back to the Future 2 is the reason you have to either have permission from the person or the estate. Crispin Glover was a big part of that. Yeah.
I saw an interview recently, him talking about that again, and I'm like, wow, people are still asking you about that. It's like, haven't we heard the ins and outs of that yet? And I'm like, I guess not.
You know, I like Michael Keaton and I like Tim Burton, but if I have to hear that story about Michael Keaton meeting Tim Burton for the first time again, I am just gonna don't recommend channel. Like I get like it was a great story when I first heard it like 6 months ago or whatever he said it. But like every interviewer now has to ask the same question. It's getting I don't know. It's just lazy. Here we go. Ron Prisek in the chat. My friend Matt might still get more work as Darth Vader. I imagine that it costs to have AI James Earl Jones. Some project might need to use something else for budgetary reasons. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point too. Who knows what the deal is that he plays, and if they want a cheaper voice, they'll just get a voice actor for him.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But yeah, respect to James Earl Jones and rest in peace. It's a loss for the Star Wars community, and we move on.
Yeah.
Next topic. Everyone's favorite actress is going to be cast in Star Wars, Brock. Everyone's favorite actress. We got Dale is here and Wookie Talks are in the chat now. Everyone's favorite actress, Brie Larson, has signed on to play Revan in an upcoming Star Wars motion picture. I believe it's being called Episode 4, A New Revan. Is it? They're rebooting the Star Wars franchise with Brie Larson as the lead. So this is something we weren't originally going to talk about it because it's stupid, but we are going to talk about it because it's even more stupid that we did a video. I told you we did a video 3 years ago. I forgot about this video. You still don't have any record. You might not even be in the video. I didn't know what the video was, but all of a sudden I looked at our analytics one day and all these views were like spiraling in from this video about Brie Larson in Star Wars. I don't know what it was. I don't remember what the title was even. And I was like, what is this video? And I kind of ignored it. And then the next day, there was a comment on the video. Because if you have the analytics app, it tells you when you have a new comment. So it's always front and it doesn't matter how old or whatever. So I see this comment, and the comment's talking about how there's a video going around that is saying that, and they kind of stumble upon our video because it's being recommended with this other video that's probably doing much better than all of our videos combined. But I was like, this is strange. And the video kept going, and it's either tripled or quadrupled in views in the last week. And it's from 2021. And I believe it's from like the first half of 2021, somewhere between January and like April. Like it's in that part of 2021. And so I was like, we have to add this to this because we need those views now. So we added this. But also there's like a fake, apparently, according to an MSN article that I sent you, I don't know if you read it, but I skimmed it. Apparently, there's a fake Facebook post going around saying that Brie Larson is playing Revan. And I vaguely recall that in our video, we were both like, yeah, she could join Star Wars, whatever. I think it was kind of like we were nonchalant about it like that.
Yeah.
But I find it funny that we did that 3 years ago. And that was probably dated when we did it. But now we're like so far removed from everything. She hasn't really been in the limelight at all, as far as I know. Like she's kind of like whatever. But like people are this obsessed with Brie Larson that they know that if they throw her name and Revan and Star Wars together, that it's going to spike, and that's going to be like the flame on, like Johnny Storm. And so here we are, Brock. Brie Larson, Revan. Clearly not going to happen. I think for the sanity of both Star Wars and Brie Larson, I don't think she's going to enter that world. But what are your thoughts on this mess?
Who cares? It's like, wait, first of all, like, it's just like, nowhere in the last 3 to 4 years has there been any mention of Revan being in a movie, or like the Old Republic being in a movie. Like, well,
I think Leslie Headland wanted Bane or mentioned Bane in the Acolyte.
Sure,
So
but like,
that's as close as you get.
That's as close as you get, and it's just like, I guess James Goldsmith, yeah, Goldsmith, Jerry. Who was the one that was going to do the Star Wars film that was like 10,000 years in the past?
Oh, James Mangold. James Mangold.
I mean, I guess that kind of is. I don't know. It's just like, what are you talking about? Like, nobody has mentioned this as an error, and like, I would argue after the I guess if you want to call it failure of Acolyte, they're not going to want to take like farther back steps. I don't know. They should definitely do it. Revan is a cool character, but I'm like, they haven't announced that. What are you talking about? Mm-hmm. It's just like, and then also it's like, hey, I don't care. Actually, you know what? I do care. Like, the story's already told, so why are we rehashing it? It's like, the cool thing about Knights of the Old Republic was like, you had no clue until you got to that part of the game. It was just like, wow. Like, so it's just like, so I mean, is the assumption she is Revan? Like, I'm like, but Revan's a man. Not that it matters, but it's like, you're already gonna lose the surprise appeal anyways. We were talking about this recently. It was like, it would have been better if they didn't say anything. Oh, like in, I think, Wolverine. Deadpool Wolverine is like, oh, Daphne Keane's gonna be in. I'm like, you didn't have to announce that at all.
So the reason why they announced that was because she wanted to go to the premiere.
So just go to the premiere.
That's the thing. Like, she could have been like, I'm here because I want to support. Like,
I was in one of these movies.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. But yeah, they said because she went to the. I think also the marketing team pushed them hard because they wanted to show that. Which everyone's like, she's the emotional heartbeat of the movie, which is kind of true. But also, you could sell that movie to me without that, because I also think Deadpool, like, isn't like also Deadpool's like aren't Deadpool's friends also the heartbeat of that movie? Like, the whole thing is, not spoiler alert for Deadpool and Wolverine, but isn't the whole movie him trying to save like the people he loves? Like, that's kind of the heartbeat of the movie also.
Like, it's the whole reason he's doing what he's doing, but at the same point, it's just like, but they're barely in that movie. They're at least in the front. They're in the main credits. They're like, this movie has these people. I'm like, cool, respect. Hopefully, if they do a fourth one, they get to come back and do more stuff. But it's just like, it just seemed odd. Like, but I get it. It's like, one, we have to introduce Deadpool into the Marvel MCU.
Yeah,
and also we got Hugh Jackman. It's like, we're gonna use Hugh Jackman as much, and then, like, for a lot of the jokes in the movie, it's like, it works. But yeah, it's just sort of like, okay, you're gonna do a Revan movie. It's like, well, we already know what's gonna happen, so whatever. Like, revealing that, oh, I'm Brie Larson. I'm like, whoa! But so it's like, this all. I mean, it goes without saying, this is all this is not real. This is not real.
It's not real.
All.
No, it's
just not real whatsoever. Like, also, stop announcing who you're casting in things. It would be way more interesting if you didn't know. Like,
it would even be even better if they stopped announcing stuff.
Oh, I remember. It wasn't Daphne Keane. It was Robert Downey Jr. It's just like, oh, great. There's 6 people in Hollywood. It's just like, I would have been more impressed if I didn't know and he just popped up. Which, like, yeah, go ahead.
He's actually being voiced by Chris Pratt as Dr. Doom. It's true. There's 6 actors in Hollywood for sure.
I don't think I knew Chris Pratt was in Deadpool, so I was like, wow. And then I had no idea. Chris Evans.
They hid that. So I saw an interview how they hid that. and apparently they kind of lucked out because of the strikes. One half of it, so I think it was before the strikes, people got photos of stuff, but they shot him like after the strike, and all the paparazzi were kind of like done with it because they're like, we got everything we need. So they kind of lucked out with that. But yeah, I wasn't sure if he was in it or not. I was happy he was, and I was happy he played who he played. We'll leave it at that in case people. It's still kind of new. By the way, Beetlejuice. I don't know if we mentioned this last week. You saw it. You recommended it to me. I don't know about everybody else, but it comes out on digital next month. Like you want to like you.
But
it's doing well.
Money. It's making money.
Because here's the thing: is there's the argument like, well, a movie's not going to make money if you release it too early. But if you make a movie people want to see, they're still going to go to the theater to see it. So
wait,
I think.
When did you say it's coming out? Next week?
October. No, probably close to Halloween. I'd imagine.
Yeah, okay, I understand that. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. But also, it's like, why didn't you release it earlier in the summer? But it made a lot of money. It's already made more than the first one ever made. But I don't know if you can compare those, like 1980 whatever versus 2024, very vastly different times with different budgets. But good on that. I'm looking forward to seeing it one day. A live action Clone Wars movie starring Brie Larson and the Clone Troopers. Sure. Yeah, I would do it. The other rumor is Keanu Reeves. Like, apparently Star Wars really wants Keanu Reeves, and he's always been linked to Revan as well. And I feel like everybody wants. Well, I saw a thing where he's like one of the most likable people in Hollywood. I suppose he's one of the most likable ones left. But the other thing though is like Revan is. I don't play the games. Like, you love the game. A lot of people love the game. I haven't played them. But Revan right now feels like the most boring casting decision or character to bring in, because everybody is linked to Revan. It's like, do something like, I don't know, find someone else to link these actors to portray. Yeah. Like, why does it have to be? It's always Revan. It's like, oh, Revan. I know Revan looks cool. Don't get me wrong. I'm all like, Revan's awesome looking. But what is that the only character left that we can cast for is Revan?
I don't know. It just reeks of like fan gossip. Like, it's just like, oh, wouldn't it be cool with Revan? I'm like, yeah, it would be great. Like, I don't know. Like, it was an amazing little story reveal in the game, but then like, what else is there? It's a mask. It's just like how we don't see Pedro Pascal in the third season of Mandalorian. It's like, is he in there? I don't know. His voice is. Well, it's like James Earl Jones. Like, man, Star Wars just makes an industry out of people voicing over other people in masks. Like, it's just like genius. So,
yeah, it's almost like they should have just cast Pedro Pascal as the voice actor and not worried about anything else, because I think that created some muddy waters. So there's another rumor going around, Brock, that Kathleen Kennedy wants to retire. This is like a real rumor. It's not. I don't think this is like in a negative connotation. I think it's like legit. Like, she wants to go out on a high, is the rumor. And Ron, a Patreon Ron is saying, if Skeleton Crew is good, would that count as the win KK wants to go out on? So she wants to go out on a win. Could it be Skeleton Crew? I would honestly say no. I think it's got to be Mando and Grogu, or it's got to be the Rey movie, because Skeleton Crew, a TV show in Disney Plus. How do you quantify that as a massive win? Everybody's obsessed with it. Like, Mando season 1, maybe you can, but I don't think we'll ever see that again on a Disney Plus show. So for me, I think it's got to be a movie, but it has to be a movie from characters that were created during her reign as the head of Lucasfilm. And I think Mando and Grogu is a big one. But then the Rey movie comes out 6 months later, because why not go 7-8 years without a movie and then throw two of them in our faces at once? But I'm going with that would not be the win.
No, I don't think so either. Like, I think a successful bunch of streaming shows would be like mentioned, but it's like, George Lucas isn't remembered for like, not that I make it sound like George Lucas has passed away or something. It's like, but if you're like, you showed a sizzle reel of like George Lucas's works. You don't start with like American Graffiti. You start with Star Wars. You don't start with Caravan of Courage. You start with Star Wars.
I think it depends on who's making that sizzle reel, because I feel like there'd be some pretentious film student. He's like, "We're gonna start with THX," and you're like, "Oh my god."
Yeah. What was I gonna say? I just looked it up while you were talking. Kathleen Kennedy is 71 and still working. Yeah, retire. Like, you deserve it. And honestly, my response, and no disrespect to Kathleen Kennedy, if she wants to go out on a high note, she needs to leave Lucasfilms and go make a movie somewhere else, because like, you're never gonna win with Star Wars fans, so it doesn't matter. Like, I wouldn't even get your heart up, because you could have $1 billion movie and they'll still be like, no, thank you. You ruined my childhood. Like, get out of here.
It is very true. Star Wars. Nobody hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans. It's and everyone says that as a joke, and it's really true, and it's really, really exhausting.
Yeah.
Really exhausting. I'm over it. I'm like, how about we enjoy? You know what's funny is one of the things we talked about Monday was kind of like when the sequels were out, how it was fun to speculate. Remember, like, all the Snoke before, all the Snoke theories and everything were like really fun.
Prequels or sequels?
Sequels. I think I said prequels. I meant sequels. Yeah. But it was like they were a lot of fun to speculate.
Yeah.
And then people were commenting, but it's fun when you think there's a direction and everyone has a plan and you believe in what's being told. And I was like, that's true. But then I remembered just a year ago, a little more than a year ago, Mandalorian season 3 came out. And that was really split with a lot of people. People liked it, people didn't like it, whatever. But there were a lot of fun theories in that season alone of Mandalorian. Yeah. But also that series versus the sequel trilogy versus even, I would say, Ahsoka and Acolyte, is you kind of, although I still maintain that Acolyte and had a pretty decent ending. Like, you knew that series, that season of Mandalorian knew where it was going the whole time. I talked to someone today who didn't like Book of Boba Fett, and they ended up agreeing on the one point that you might not like the show, but at least it knew its story and knew where it was going and knew its purpose, right? Whether you liked it or not, that's whatever, but it kind of knew. So I think when you, and I agree with some of the comments that was like, if you believe you know where they're going, then you can start speculating, having a lot of fun, because that's when you know that there's a plan at least at hand. When there's no plan, that's when it gets tough to speculate. And I miss our old shows where we used to just make the stupidest things up for fun, and just joke around. We were also a lot younger back then, so it was a lot of fun just to joke. But that's part of the fun of Star Wars, right? It's just having fun joking around about the new stuff and having your never tell me the odds always being wrong.
Yeah, I guess. I don't even know how we got on here. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's just not exciting. Like, I like Brie Larson. If I had my way, I'd be like, make more Captain Marvel movies, because I like the Marvels. I'm like, I want more of that. Like, show me more stuff. And it seems like they want to do more space Marvel things. So it's like, she's an easy person to put in there. And also, like, Keanu Reeves, I'm like, yeah, great. Keanu Reeves is a great actor, but it's just like, also, like, it's not exciting. I don't know if you put Keanu Reeves in a Star Wars film, would I be like, oh, there's Keanu Reeves, not the character he's playing. It's like, there's Keanu Reeves being Keanu Reeves. Like, I don't know.
That's the thing. Is like, everybody's like, I don't need name actors in Star Wars, but get Keanu Reeves in there. Like, well, what do you want, one or the other? I'm with you. You know what? I am with you. And I think to the Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett, when you have some of the comedic actors and stuff that come in, they kind of like, you're kind of like, oh, maybe you take away from it a little. But also, I really don't care at this point, because also, again, as young as movies are, being 100 years, Star Wars is only 47. How old is Star Wars? 47 years old is Star Wars. So it's like, 47. If you were born or saw it as a 10-year-old, you're 50. A lot of actors growing up is what I'm saying, or who have been around now, want to be in Star Wars. So a lot of them are trying to be in Star Wars and they want to get their foot in that door. And so I can see that happen. Like, like Kumail Nanjiani is like the perfect one that comes to mind. Like, yeah, he wants to be in Star Wars. Is he distracting? For some people, I liked his character in Obi-Wan, but for some people, that kind of casting is distracting. But the actor really wants to be in it. I think it goes both ways. Like, it kind of, some of them, not in him necessarily, but some I think would hurt the casting, and some of them I think would help. And it all depends. I mean, you put Zach Braff in Obi-Wan as well, and you disguise him and make him whatever, and you can get away with like Tom Hardy being a stormtrooper, Daniel Craig being a stormtrooper, stuff like that. But I think that's where it's tough. Do you want to go to the odds?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Probability of successfully navigating an asteroid field is approximately 3,720 to 1.
Never tell me the odds.
Never tell me the odds. Brought to you, me, and everyone by patreon.com/Rebel Scum Podcast. If you like what we do, why don't you support us at patreon.com/Rebel Scum Podcast and get that juicy content before anybody else, because we love Star Wars and we like talking about Star Wars and we like talking to each other. So please support us in any way you can, like the following awesome people: Heidi Feder, executive producer; Barry Brophy, Dennis Allen, Randy Kenobi, Mary Kristen Aton, Dale Erdman, Phil Stanforth, Rez, Scott D, Josh Price,
Matt W, Frank Perkins, Neil Lowry, Cosmic Girl 02, Gleek Play 1, Den of Nerds, Disney Desi, Charlotte, Ron Prasak, and Jeff Wilson.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Thank you all for your support. It means a lot to us here.
Absolutely.
At the channel. Oh yeah, we were also supposed to talk about Ewan McGregor really wanting to play Obi-Wan Kenobi again. You know what? We all like money. All right. Never tell me the odds. This one is for Patreon supporter Ron Prasak, who is in the chat right now, and I want to hear his odd for this one. Never tell me the odds. The Rey movie will happen. The Rey movie will happen. I know the donut that's coming from Ron, but Brock, is the Rey movie happening?
I'm going to go full Brock on it because it's just like we don't even know wherever. Well, I guess we'll get Mando and Grogu, but it's like, I don't know. He still feels like we might not ever get another Star Wars movie.
That's how it feels right now. Feels like George Lucas leaving Revenge of the Sith. Ron's in there with 0%. That donut has hit. I'm going to go full Brock on it because I want it to happen. I believe it will happen, but I did a video on this. I don't think it's going to be the crew. I think the director is going to be changed. I mean, by the time they make it, they might do old woman Rey, old Jedi Rey, like the original plan where they wanted the Helen Mirren type to play Rey. That actually might be Daisy Ridley's actual age by the time they make this movie. I think that, and I do think 0% on the James Mangold movie. I think after Indiana Jones flopped as bad as it did, and how much money they spent on that movie, I think his Star Wars movie, although apparently Sean Levy's talking to. Who the hell knows anymore? I have no idea. But that's a full Brock on that one. Never tell me the odds. Mando and Grogu teaser will come this Thanksgiving, American Thanksgiving, or Black Friday. Around that time, we'll get a short teaser. They showed that thing at D23, but something for everybody will come at American Thanksgiving.
Maybe. I don't know. D23 already happened, and they showed something like you just said.
Yeah.
I guess. Like, I am going to say 30%. Just Thanksgiving, maybe not. I don't know.
I'm gonna go like 27%. I'm with you. I would love it, but the movie doesn't come out in 2025. It comes out in 2026. Heidi's saying Super Bowl. Again, though, that's a year out. I can see 2026 Super Bowl, like they did with Solo, like a few months before, do that. But this one, so I'm going to go 27%. And our final odd today, play along at the chat. A Knights of the Old Republic movie will be announced at Star Wars Celebration Japan. Right, ties right in. Revan, Brie Larson, Keanu Reeves are also on stage at Star Wars Celebration Japan.
It's like, with Acolyte, do they ever really? I mean, do they ever really explain that it's like in the era of the High Republic? They must, right?
I think the first episode had that somewhat crawl, I believe.
Yeah.
So I think they told you. I don't know if they used High Republic or not. Dale could probably tell us. Oh, Ron's going 1% on this one, and Dale's going 99.999%.
He balanced each other out.
Yeah, I Dale could probably answer this one, but I don't know if they called it High Republic, but I believe you knew where in the timeline it was based on that crawl, but I don't know how specific details they went into.
Because it's like, do they stray away from it because Old Republic, because like High Republic didn't work? But yeah, I mean, you got to make a Star Wars movie of some sort or show or whatever. So it's like it doesn't really matter which era it is, but then you just do, like I said, or like we were just saying, it's like you don't really have to make a whole point. Like nobody in the era is like, this is the High Republic, this is the Old Republic. Like no one talks like that.
Yeah.
So maybe you just never.
They don't know it's the High Republic while they're doing it.
But I'm gonna go 10%. I mean, I like the characters in it, and you could. It is a way to It is a way to kind of go back to the Sith, because it's sort of like. Just trying to remember. It's like after the period where the Sith are a thing, but like you go to Sith planets and stuff like that. So I don't know.
Sorry, typing away to Dale. He says it's the end of the High Republic, and I'm asking if they mentioned that in the show. Yeah, I'm going to go 17.39% on it. I want to go 0, and I'll tell you why. Not because I don't want a movie in that era, and not because I don't, and not because I have anything against anything. It's because I am so sick of things being announced. They announced 3 movies, and the only one that we know is happening for sure is the one that wasn't announced. It's the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, which is exactly what they did at the Disney upfronts or whatever it was, the stockholder meeting where they were like, you're going to get Rogue Squadron, you're going to get the Lando show, the Droids show, you're going to get the Acolyte. We finally got the Acolyte, but the only thing we got out of that was the Book of Boba Fett, which wasn't even talked about then, and we got it announced a week later on the Mandalorian season 2 finale. So I don't want anything announced. I don't want to announce unless it's done shooting, unless they are secretly shooting it right now. And at Star Wars Celebration Japan, they're like, guess what? We got a KOTOR movie coming out. And that's the only way I accept it, but I'm going 17.39%.
Yeah.
The only mention in the Acolyte that links to the High Republic is basically Vernestra being in it.
Which doesn't really. So no.
No, the answer is no.
So yeah.
Where we got? Oh, I want to go to this comment. This is about the Rey movie. Dale saying Rey will go dark side because she is guided to destroy the artifact Palpatine essence is imbued into. I like that idea. I want to see Rey go dark. Jar Jar go dark. Rey go dark. They should all just go dark. There you go. Characters are more interesting when they go dark. Unless it's Luke Skywalker, then you defy the fandom. All right, top 5.
Top 5.
Ewan McGregor got a star on the.
That's right.
On the Walk of Fame. Yeah, Hayden Christensen was there. And so was Hera. Hera Syndulla was there because she's married to him. Top 5 Vader lines in memory of James Earl Jones. Top 5 lines said by Darth Vader. My number 5, I am altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it further. I feel like they could cast me as Darth Vader because I just did a great line reading there, Brock.
Oh, he took me away. I was like, wow.
If anybody wants to do a live reading of The Empire Strikes Back, let me know. I am available for Vader in that one for sure. Bracket number 5.
My number 5 is No, I Am Your Father, because like obviously, so like let's just get it out of the way. Of course, it's on this list. Enough.
And that is my number 4. Is I Am Your Father, or is it Luke? I Am Your Father. I
Aha.
believe it is. I believe it is the most misquoted
Yeah.
line in all of like history. However, no one has ever mentioned Mandela effect on that one. Maybe that is the first Mandela effect because we all know the line. We all knew the line separate differently from what it is. That's my number 4. Brock, your number 4.
My number 4 is gonna be No from Revenge of the Sith, because I'm pretty sure that it is him, right? That is James Earl Jones. It's definitely Vader voice, but no.
I believe when he started Phantom Menace, he went right to James Earl Jones. He goes, "I'm getting you for these prequels. Be ready." And he's like, "I am ready." Be sure not to choke on your aspirations, says Heidi. And you are part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor, which is not coming up now. Is my number 3 now is Leave That to Me from A New Hope. That line I love. I don't know why my dad in the 90s said that line repeatedly whenever we asked him to do something. He would say in a Vader voice that is much worse than mine, he would say, "Leave that to me." So that is my number 3 for personal reasons. And this is my list so I can do what I want.
My number 3 is going to be The Student is Now the Master. Right? I think that's he says that to Obi-Wan in the first one.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So it's actually the 4th one, Brock.
The 4th one. Remember that?
There's always a plan.
Remember being a kid where you're like the 4th one? It's like, wow.
You know, I didn't know that it said episode 4 in it because I believe I had it. The version I had on VHS cassette tape was taped off of TV, and the crawl was actually cut, so I didn't see the beginning. It was like right after, like the whole crawl was there, but the episode 4 wasn't. So I never saw that at all. And Empire Strikes Back, I watched those things before I could read, also, so none of it really. I didn't know what the crawl said, I think, until I watched them in the theater. Number 3, you're part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor. Take her away. My dad also would randomly say that in the 90s. Forever, he would just say that, and that had no context to it. He would just say that in the middle of the day, and you're like, okay. So that's my number 3. Or 2. Sorry, number 2.
My number 2 is going to be I Have You Now, when he is almost lasering on Luke. I like that, like Vader is a lot of things, but he's also a pilot. It's like, I will fly.
That's the Lord. No, is it Lords of the Sith? Oh, it's my favorite Disney era book of Star Wars. So Lords of the Sith. I think it's Lords of the Sith. Vader's in it, and Vader is like a pilot and he's a mechanic. Like he's good with fixing things, like Anakin was. And that's the one that I'm like, that really I felt like bridged Anakin and Vader together really well. Ron Prasek, when I left you, I was but a learner. Now I am the master, Brock. Yeah. That's what you're looking for. And Heidi's come up with, and now, Your Highness, we will discuss the location of the Rebel base. So many great lines. My number 1, we're on number 1. You don't know the power of the dark side. That is a great Vader impression. Clip it and sell it to Disney.
I think that was going to be mine as well, so I'll change it up. I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Yes. Awesome quote. There's so many. It was tough to come up with the 5. These are great quotes. I would James Earl Jones, may he rest in peace. Great performance, great Darth Vader, greatest movie villain of all time. Come at me, Thanos fans. Come at me, because Darth Vader will eat him for lunch or something. I don't know. He'll force choke him. You should have gone for the head. How cool was it watching in the theater Revenge of the Sith when the mask came down?
Yeah.
And you heard the breathing for the first time. Like, whatever you thought of the prequels, that moment was like, brilliant.
Yeah. I was just thinking when we were talking about movies, like Star Wars being in the theater again, it's like, just want them to do it just so you can sit in a theater. The Lucasfilm logo comes out and the entire room just erupts because there will inevitably be there on like opening day. Like, oh,
yeah. I do miss the Fox fanfare still. I'm like it just feels
yeah. I
like,
guess it would be different, eh?
I always like associated the Star Wars theme with the Fox music.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, Star Wars? No. I'm like, oh man.
So it's silence and then boom.
Yeah. Boom, da, 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 da. Yeah, the Disney one, they could have added something like When You Wish Upon a Star. I think that would fit beautifully with Star Wars.
Yeah.
At 335, Brock.
335. Wow. We did it.
Hooray for Brie Larson. Congratulations on your new role. A lot of fun
recently.
Thank you, everyone in the chat. It's awesome to read your comments, to read along. Thank you for joining along on the. It was good on the odds and top 5. We had comments on those. That's what makes it a lot more fun. And everybody listening, wherever you get your podcast, thanks for joining us there. Unfortunately, we're not live there. Dale and Luke, you can destroy the Emperor. He has foreseen this. It is your destiny. Join me, and together we can rule the galaxy as father and son. What? Empire Strikes Back. Are you impressed that I knew the movie? Are you impressed? I said that like no one knew what movie that was. That's from The Empire Strikes Back, a little known indie film directed by.
Yeah, perfect.
Dumbest comment. All right, let's wrap it up. Anything else you want to say, Brock?
No. Thanks for coming by and listening to us talk about Star Wars, and I love you.
I know. It's because you were always scum.
Rebel scum.
Scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.